here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up with some wedding cards today. So it is our Scrappy Advent calendar, as you know, if you're watching any of our videos in December pretty much. We are doing cards this year for our Scrappy Advent calendar. So every day we have got a video going up. It's either mine or my sister's, and we've got a card tutorial, and then the other video that goes up is the person opening their gift. So it's a lot of fun. We do 12 cards and 12 purchase gifts to make up our 24. We technically do 25, gifts, because we also open one on Christmas Day. So yeah, it's all very exciting. So I am using an old stamp set. I don't actually know if you can still get it or not from Stampin' Up, called, I think, Piece of Cake, and it matches a punch, which I find nice and easy. And I'm just stamping out some wedding cakes. So it's kind of got the cake stand and then a little cake that you can put on top of the cake stand. They've got a few different designs, a few different sentiments, but I thought it's always nice to have a couple of wedding cards in your stash, even if you're not going to the wedding, but you've got a colleague or a friend who's getting married and you just want to give them a little card. I'm using some paper, also from Stampin' Up, that I just had lying around. You can't get that anymore, but it's super pretty. The theme of this is I am trying to use up what I already have. So I'm just kind of colouring in just a few of the little bits on the cake, just for some cute little accents of colour. So I'm not colouring in the whole cake. I didn't want to go overboard with adding colour, but I'm just adding a similar colour to the card base that I'm using, which is kind of a corally colour. And yeah, I'm just adding some little accents in that colour and a bit of pink. I know they're quite, I guess you'd say, girly cards, but I was just using what I had, so that's why they've ended up like that. And I would have made a couple of other sentiments, like a Mr. and Mr. or a Mrs. and Mrs., but I didn't have those sentiments. I could have easily made them by using some masking on this Mr. and Mrs. sentiment stamp that I'm using, and with some masking I could have easily made it Mr. and Mr. or Mrs. and Mrs., but I just didn't think of it at the time. But I know they are also quite handy to have in the stash, so I will probably go back and make a couple of those as well. So I'm just colouring in. That's all I'm doing. How are you guys enjoying our series so far? I think this video might be going up kind of early-ish in the month. And so you will have seen a few of these videos where we've got some card tutorials every day, alternating between Jess and I, but then we've also got our opening videos every day where we're opening our gifts. So make sure you check them out. I will have the playlist linked down below, so if you've missed any, you can go back. It's always fun. They're usually pretty short videos. Sometimes the card making tutorials aren't that short, but the opening videos are super short. So, they're easy to sneak in to a day when you're, I know how much YouTube we've all got to catch up on. If we tried to watch everybody on our list, I think I'd be watching YouTube forever. But I love watching YouTube, and I like to do it while I'm creating. So, it'll be easy videos for you to get. I don't know if we're releasing them first up in the day or at the end of the day in Australia. It's hard to know what the best time is. Most of our subscribers are in the US, so we have recently switched our release times to the afternoon or the evening in Australia, which you guys probably haven't noticed. But if you have, shout out to you. We have moved our release times to the evening because it seems to be better for views and things like that. Not that, it's that important how many views we get. But it's nice when people get to see our videos, and sometimes they get lost in subscription feeds, I would suggest, because the same thing happens to me. I'm subscribed to so many awesome YouTubers, it's hard to keep up. So I've got my card base. As always, the measurements will be in the description box down below, but my card base is half an A4 sheet of cardstock. In Australia, our cardstock all comes in A4 size, which I don't know what that is in inches. I'm so sorry. And I will apologise. All of my measurements will be in inches, and that is because my trimmer is in inches. So even though we don't use inches in Australia, unfortunately my trimmer only has inches, which I didn't realise when I purchased it, but it does. It's quite annoying. I wish it had both, but it doesn't. So all of my measurements are in inches. So apologies for those Australian people who would prefer me to use centimetres. I'm very sorry. It's just, I could have done the conversions, but it was just easier for me to write my measurements in inches. And look, they're all approximate anyway, as in, just do what works for you. If your cardstock's slightly smaller or slightly bigger, you'll see easily how to make the adjustments. None of the cards that I'm making in December are particularly difficult. Now I'm just adding some ribbon as well as a doily, just for a bit of extra kind of fanciness. It is a wedding card after all. You want it to be a little bit fancy. And there's a lot of like sparkle and glitter not glitter, metallic on the paper that I'm using, the pattern paper. So it does add a little bit of extra something, and it does make it look a little bit special, in my opinion. So I just like to add the ribbon. I think the ribbon, I don't know, I just really think ribbon adds a lot to a card. And I have a lot of ribbon, so that means I get to use it and it looks cool. So win-win. So you can see me, I just used double-sided tape to attach the ribbon and the doily, and I just added a few pieces of double-sided tape just to keep it down. And now I'm coming in with some foam dots and popping up the circle. It's just over a 2-inch circle. I think it's about 2¼ inch roughly. I did use a die to cut it out, and it's a stitched die, so there's stitching around the edge. But you could just use a circle punch, or you don't even have to use a circle. You could use any shape you like. I just used a circle because it worked well with the doily underneath. Kept the kind of similar shape going. And then I'm just popping up my little cake stand and cake on some foam to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm pretty sure we're done. Oh no, I think I add some little pearls. So I've just got some pearls there, and I'm just going to add some of those onto the card as well. Again, just because it's a little bit fancy. Pearls, they're very wedding-ish. So they're going on. Just 3 onto each card. And then we're done. So again, super quick card. Because there's so much pattern paper, it makes it look quite effective, but they're quite simple. So that's sort of my tip. If you are using stamps and things like that, if you add some big pieces of pattern paper, you don't have to do a hell of a lot else, and you've got some simple, quick cards that you can throw together. So I'm going to show you a close-up of these cards in photos. So please go and see Jess's opening video if you haven't already, and we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, bye.